Hello, I'm Chris Oz. I'm also of the Class Consciousness Project and came here through a similar history, comrade Alex. I'm going to echo some of his points. I think the left will always be divided, the same way the far right will. But our job is to educate those, the majority of people, who don't really care about outdated terms like left and right. The people whose time is spent in work, with their family or in the pub, often complaining to the co-workers, their spouses, friends, about the problems that are caused by capitalism. But they're the same people who wouldn't thank you for a book by Marx. In my short time here with the project, I've learned so much. I can't call myself an expert, but I want to pass what I've learned on to those people. All I know, like most people, is the difference between right and wrong, and what I believe and what I want to get others to believe in is our capacity as a class for change. Change can't come from the ballot box at this current time. It can't come from a protest march. It can't come from an armed uprising at the present time. It might sound negative, but the reason it can't is there aren't enough people who are convinced that change should happen, let alone that it could happen. How many people say it's just the way it is, or it's not fair, but that's life? Is your life worth living if it's unfair? That's the reason we need to talk to the apolitical, the people who only read one newspaper and repeat that what they read there as an opinion. The people who don't read the papers but believe everything they get sent on Facebook. They're all upset about something, but they haven't realised what it is yet. You get people who only read the back pages, the sports pages, disillusioned with politics. Suella Braverman got hundreds of them people to kick off in London, and I'm not saying it's right, but she got them to do it. Thousands of fans protested against the formation of the European Super League, and they changed the minds of powerful, wealthy people. It's a case of getting people who are already passionate to realise where their problems actually stem from. Like recently, Everton were docked 10 points for what's essentially a problem caused by the rich and those who manipulate money, legally or illegally, I can't say. The result of this is only the fans, and the fans, like workers in industry, they create the wealth for them football clubs. And when the clubs start to fail, the fans suffer. When the clubs try to go into some ridiculous venture, the fans get angry. And it's sad that something as, to be honest, as unimportant as football can get people off their couches and out on the streets when there's things like that happening all the time. People are not understanding the capitalist nature of football. It's as volatile as the capitalist system that we all live in. The people who lose are always us, the creators of wealth, but not the manipulators of it. And like I said, it's not our job to unite the left. It's to reach out to people who would otherwise not be engaged with us. It's not our job to tell the conspiracy theorist to take his tinfoil hat off, but it is to tell him that his theories have a basis in fact, because the greatest conspiracy in this world is the money trick, capitalism. Your boss doesn't need to eat babies to be a knobhead. An investment banker doesn't have to be a lizard to use your wages to gamble with. Big Pharma does not need to put microchips in us in order to control our access to healthcare. It's not our job to tell an unemployed racist that immigrants promote cultural enrichment But it's our job to explain that immigration is a symptom of capitalism. It's not our job to tell a Christian that attend the mass is a bourgeois ritual, or to point out the socialist teachings in the gospel. It's not our job to tell an environmentalist that they're a gang of liberal NIMBYs, or to tell them that a planned economy will protect the environment more than wasteful capitalism. We also have to contend with misinformation. The media have got people thinking, for example, that Israel has a right to defend itself, but Russia doesn't. It has people thinking that defending the rights of Palestinians, and thus opposing imperialism, is in some way disrespectful to those from our country who were sent to their deaths by imperialists in overseas wars. It is not our job to protect the Muslim from the Jew. It is our job to let both of them know that the situation in Palestine is down to the actions of American imperialism. We may all have been told at some point to go to China if we express socialist views. Despite the logistical and linguistic problems, how could we improve our own country if we just fled to another? To a lover of capitalist freedoms, I've never said just move to Somalia. They're completely deregulated. And something else I read, this speech wasn't very well written, you might have noticed. In the 20s, this is misinformation about the Soviet Union. In the 20s, somebody sent to a gulag had an 8-hour working day and were paid 1/3 of a regular wage from an ordinary Soviet citizen. We're always told that gulags were terrible places, but that was actually, they had more spending power than a poor British worker had in the same period. And it's a poor British worker who wasn't in prison. So they're just some of the things that we need to know about how our media manipulates us. And we do need to use the media, because a lot of people, they absorb information that way. But we also need to get our information out on the streets, in the workplaces, and in the pubs as well. Anywhere where anyone might be questioning why their life is so shit and how they can improve it. And everybody needs to know that socialism will benefit all of us, even the rich. They won't have as much money as they used to have, but they'll still be living in a lucky country. So, yeah, that's the end of that. Thank you.